notice that knowing somebody's fear allows you to predict their behavior. If you really want to understand why people do the things they do, whether as individuals or collectively, study their fears. What do they fear? Get inside their mind and try to figure it out. And if you can figure that out, that gives you enormous power. Now, of course, power can be used for good or for evil. So in this case, if you know somebody's fears, you can predict their behavior. This allows you to help them, or this allows you to manipulate them and to exploit them. Now, of course, I don't recommend going the second route. As an example of this, I bring up Vladimir Putin again, the president of Russia. So there was a news story about a year or two ago where Putin had a meeting with Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany. And apparently it's well known about Angela Merkel that she has a fear of dogs, because I don't know why it is, but I think she was like bitten by a dog when she was young. And so now everyone knows she has a fear of dogs. And Putin in this meeting deliberately brought his like aggressive looking dog with him to the meeting. Because of course, what he was trying to do is he was trying to exploit and manipulate this fear that she had of dogs. Now, this is a textbook definition of devilry. So I don't recommend you do that. And the reason I don't recommend you do this is because when you manipulate people's fears to meet your own survival needs, what this does is it creates bad karma. Devilry always creates bad karma. Devilry comes back to bite you in the ass. It's going to create suffering for you if you act in a way that you're trying to manipulate people's fears all the time. So I don't recommend that you go down this road. In fact, I recommend that you do the opposite. I recommend that you seek to alleviate other people's fears. Get into the habit of assessing other people's fears. For example, you can do this exercise. Sit down with a piece of paper and ask yourself, brainstorm, what does your mother fear? What does your father fear? What does your spouse fear? What does your boss fear? What does your company fear? What does your client or your patient fear? What do scientists fear? What do Christians fear? What do Muslims fear? What do spiritual people fear? What do atheists fear? And so on and so on. In fact, I'll have a worksheet for you that you can go and click the link down below this video to download this worksheet, which has a bunch of questions. It's like an exercise that you go through and you contemplate all these different possible fears that people have. And what this does is it helps you to step into their shoes and look at the world from their point of view. And as you do that, that helps to explain in your own mind why these people behave the way they behave, why they believe what they believe, why they hold the ideologies that they hold. And then in this way, you can become really good at understanding other people. You can learn to communicate with others in a powerful and effective way by thinking through their fears and then coming up with solutions to their fears and then communicating the solutions to their fears. In this way, you can become a powerful leader. You can develop a powerful business. In the end, what is business? Business is figuring out what is the fear of your client, or what is something that people fear in the world, and then coming up with a solution to that. And that requires being able to see the world from their point of view. Like, you might ask the question, what do most parents fear? And one of the answers you might get is like, well, they fear their child getting kidnapped. Okay, and then you can ask yourself the next question, well, if I wanted to start a business for parents to give them solutions to parents, I could just take like the top 5 fears of parents and develop technologies or solutions for that. So if the top fear of parents is that their child will get kidnapped, or maybe the second top fear is that their child will get shot up in school because of these school shootings we keep having. What kind of technology could I develop? Some gadget or some website or whatever to help with that? And if I can come up with a good solution, then I know it's going to resonate with those people because people are motivated by their fears. Now, again, of course, you can do this in a positive way. You can do this in a negative way. You can start a business that exploits people's fears. Like, for example, you can start a business, you might ask yourself, well, like, what do conservatives fear in America? Well, they fear brown people. So I can come up with a business that, fear mongers to conservatives that brown people are invading America. And then I can sell them more guns. Well, that would also be a business. But again, remember, like I said, when you're playing up to people's fears and you're fear mongering to people, this ultimately is going to come back and bite you in the ass. So it's not a good idea to go down that road. Rather, inspire people. Be an entrepreneur or a business person. Have a sense of life purpose that inspires people, that helps them to cope with their fears in a healthy way that doesn't exploit their fears. If you want to be able to build rapport quickly with people, maybe with clients, for example, get good at asking them about their fears. And a good question to ask them is, hey, what keeps you up at night? And see what they tell you. Like if you're a doctor and you want to understand your patients better, next patient you talk to, ask them, what keeps you up at night about your health? And watch them talk. They're going to spill all the beans to you because no one's ever asked them that question. It's a very powerful question. Or if you're in a relationship with your spouse, ask them, what keeps you up at night? What are you afraid of? What are your biggest fears about our relationship? Oh boy, that's a powerful question. It's going to open a whole can of worms. See? But to ask this question, you have to be really interested. You have to want to know the other person's point of view, and you also have to be able to take their fears seriously. Remember, the fears they have might seem ridiculous to you. Like if you ask a Christian, what's your biggest fear? They might have some fears that are silly to you, but they're real to them. Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to understand? See, by exposing yourself and understanding other people's fears, what this will do is this will expose you to the selfishness of your own fears, because you'll see that all these different groups of people have their own unique fears, and you'll see how limited and selfish these fears are and how ridiculous they are, which will help you to see your own fears as selfish and limited and ridiculous. So this ability to understand and deal with fear and communicate about fear is very important if you're interested in good leadership. And I have a pretty nice episode about how leadership works, how to be a leader. Go search for that.